Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Directors meeting for August 21st, 2018. I'd like to welcome everyone that's in the audience here to thank you for being here as we go about conducting the city's business. If you would please, Madam Clerk, read the roll.
Director Hendricks, Director Richardson, Director Peck, Director Hines, Director Wright, Director Wyrick, Director Compuris, Director Fortson,
Here.
Director Adcock, Vice Mayor Webb, Mayor Stola.
Here. Let me call on City Director Gene Fortson for our invocation, please.
Will you join me in prayer? Our God, we thank you for this country, this opportunity to meet in a free society, to look after the affairs of our city. We are thankful for this day and for the blessings of the land. We ask your guidance over us this evening as we look after the affairs of the city and help us to make wise decisions. Look after the city's first responders and all of our city employees, and guide us in our deliberations and in our efforts throughout this week. These things we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. If you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have a request from our city attorney for a deferral on ordinance number 13 till September 4th. Is there a motion to defer?
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed say nay. It will be deferred till September 4th. We can now move on to the consent agenda, and let me ask the clerk to read the consent agenda, please.
Read this before.
If you have that, you can read that when you get to that particular item, the additional information that needs to be contained therein.
That's not an item on the agenda. Okay, sorry. Okay, the consent agenda consists of a motion to approve the minutes of the June 5th, 2008 Little Rock City Board of Directors meeting, a resolution to authorize the city manager to award a contract to Cliff Childress Construction in the amount not to exceed $82,800 for the Colonel Glenn Timberland Drive Drainage Improvement Project and for other purposes, funding from the 2012 through 8-cent capital improvement sales tax. A resolution authorizes the city manager to award a contract to Cliff Childress Construction in an amount not to exceed $255,878.29 for the Oxford Valley Drainage Improvement Project and for other purposes, funding from the 2012 through 8-cent capital improvement sales tax. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with McGee Ford in the total amount of $63,302 for the purchase of 2 Ford F-250 pickup trucks for the Little Rock Fire Department and for other purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with HIVAC Corporation in a total amount of $374,389.45 for the purchase of a new 10-yard combination vacuum storm sewer cleaner truck for the Public Works Department and for other purposes. A resolution to transfer title via quitclaim deed for property sold by the City of Little Rock, Arkansas to be used for neighborhood revitalization programs and for other purposes. A resolution to authorize the city manager to execute a second amendment to the lease agreement for property located at 3 Financial Center Building in the City of Little Rock, Arkansas for police use purposes. That concludes the consent agenda.
There's a motion and a second. Director Richardson, do you have a question?
Yes, Mayor. Bruce, on resolution number 6, I know the gentleman who we're giving these properties to was born and raised in that area. Is there a formula that we have or some kind of criteria we utilize to calculate the price of the purchase of land that we own in the land bank? And if so, is that geographically based or size, or, I mean, how do we calculate the square foot price or the acreage price with respect to us transferring land to developers?
Our consistent policy is to just ask to get back what we put into it.
So is that uniform? I know you and I earlier last week talked some about some property city owns in the land bank for possible development. Is that uniform across the board, and is it the same amount that we put in? Because I know some of them are larger than others, and some of them we have to do a lot more work.
No, it's not geographic based or size based. It's really what we had to expend to get the property in the land bank.
So we do have flexibility to negotiate those prices.
I mean, again, we do, but it's usually at least what we have put into it.
Thank you, sir. Well, the other part is we don't have a price on here. And the young man, he lives in this area. He's grown up in this area, and I know he's connected to it in a number of ways. And we didn't have a price on this. And I think this is either Ward 1 or Ward 2.
Yeah, I believe it's 4,000, and it's in the resolution that y'all have.
I got you. Thank you. It's in
Okay. If there's no other questions, all in favor of the passage of the consent agenda indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The resolutions have passed. We can now move on to the
At the end of the meeting.
grouped items. And if we could, let's read. Well, let's go ahead and read the grouped items, and then I have a couple of cards who may or may not wish to speak since they're grouped collectively.
An ordinance to accept Canis Road Deltic Potlatch annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled 7415 Colonel Glenn Road, revised short form PCD, located at 7415 Colonel Glenn Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. First reading.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place these ordinances on second reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Second reading, please.
An ordinance to accept the Canis Road Deltic Potlatch annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled 7415 Colonel Glenn Road, revised short form PCD, located at 7415 Colonel Glenn Road. Second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place these two ordinances on third and final reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Third and final reading, please.
An ordinance to accept the Canis Road Deltic Potlatch annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled 7415 Colonel Glenn Road, revised short form PCD, located at 7415 Colonel Glenn Road. Third and final reading.
Okay, I've got two cards that wish to speak in favor of this. Mr. Mitchell, do you wish to continue and speak?
Very briefly.
All right, very good.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Board of Directors, I am here along with so many of my neighbors. Raise your hand. And we're here basically to thank you and to thank Deltic. And you all, back 2 years ago, voted to preserve what we feel is a treasure in Pulaski County, Fletcher's Hollow, a 2-mile stretch of beautiful Arkansas hardwood that canopies the road that I hope every one of you have had a chance to drive through. It's amazing any time of the year, right now particularly. And Deltic has shown its great faith in preserving Fletcher's Hollow, sold some of the south side, but preserved a buffer, and we want to thank them for recognizing something that is so unique. You won't find anything like Fletcher's Hollow anywhere around that I've ever seen. And so we just want to compliment and appreciate the board, thank the board, and as well as Deltic for recognizing something that we all treasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. And my next card on this matter is Mr. Mark Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. I appreciate this opportunity. I don't want to get redundant. I think Mike pretty well covered what we have to say. It's great to be here in favor of something and not having to fight something. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you, but also wanted to thank the folks at Potlatch Deltic who came to us, told us exactly what they're doing, and listened to us and worked with us. We're thrilled to have them as good neighbors as all of us in West Pulaski County are. And thank you all for this. And we're very happy to support it and happy to be here on a positive note tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We always like people who are speaking positively about the things we're doing in the city. Thank you. We certainly hear others. Okay, all in favor of the passage of those two ordinances indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Those ordinances have passed. We can now move on to the reading of, I think you can we can group these as well, ordinances 10 and 11.
I didn't read the whole grouped items, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You just read 8.
Yeah, I read 8 and 9. An ordinance to condemn certain structures in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas with structural fire and health hazards, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to erase and remove said structures, to declare an emergency and for other purposes. An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas ordinance number 21,521 of December the 19th, 2017, to adjust the fiscal year 2018 budget ordinance to reflect revenue and expenditure adjustments for the general and fleet funds, to declare an emergency and for the purposes. First reading.
We suspend the rules and place on second reading.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place these ordinances on second reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Second reading, please.
An ordinance to condemn certain structures in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas with structural fire and health hazards, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structures, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas ordinance number 21,521 to adjust the fiscal year 2018 budget ordinance to reflect revenue and expenditure adjustments for the general and fleet funds, to declare an emergency. Second reading.
We suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on third and final reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Third and final reading, please.
An ordinance to condemn certain structures in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas with structural fire and health hazards, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structures, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas ordinance number 21,521 to adjust the fiscal year 2018 budget ordinance to reflect revenue and expenditure adjustments for the general and fleet funds, to declare an emergency. Third and final reading.
Okay, we've had the three readings of the ordinances. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the passage of these two ordinances indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The ordinances have passed. All in favor of the emergency clause on ordinance number 10 indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The emergency clause is also passed. And on the emergency clause on ordinance number 11, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The emergency clause is also passed on ordinance number 11. We can now move on to the separate items that we have. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read resolution number 12.
A resolution to express the willingness of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas to utilize Arkansas Department of Parks and Tourism Outdoor Recreation Grant Program funds, to authorize the mayor and city manager to execute any and all applications, agreements, and contracts for its administration and for other purposes.
Move for the adoption of the resolution.
There's a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. That resolution is also passed. We can now move on to ordinance number 14, and let me open up the public hearing and ask if there is anyone here who wishes to speak on this ordinance. Is the petitioner, Mr. Lacani, here? Yes. If you'd come forward, please.
Hello, Mr. Mayors and members. Just requesting I have a business for ATV four-wheelers. I sell the kids' toys and stuff. I just request to approve for a display, so I can display my product outside. Then I can get the business for that.
Right, and you went before the Planning Commission, correctly?
Yes, sir.
And they did not vote in favor of this. Is that why you're appealing this?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there anything else you would wish to
No, I just
tell
want,
to the city board on this matter?
that's it, sir. Just need a
Okay.
request.
Go ahead and hit your microphone too, please. Thank you, Director Adcock. Go ahead.
Mayor and City Board, this is one item that the Neighborhood Association spoke at the Planning Commission in favor of this. At Southwest Ups, the neighborhood spoke in favor of this. They have lost so many businesses in that area that they're hoping that this young man starting a business in their area will also encourage other people to come back into that neighborhood and fill some empty buildings up. Sawyer's Market and a whole shopping center is empty in that area, and they would like for us to vote for this so that this young man can move his business in and we can see other development in this neighborhood.
Okay, thank you for that information, Director Adcock. Mr. Moore, is there any, well, let me see, we have a couple more people who wish to speak. Director Richardson?
Yes, Mayor, I just want to hear staff's report on this and why there's a recommendation of denial. I mean, can we get staff, give us some
Let me
feedback
ask
on this,
Mr.
Mayor?
Collins to come forward.
Thank you, Bruce.
If you'll just have a seat, and I'll give you a chance to come back to the microphone after we get finished with the staff.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board, Director Richardson, what this is it essentially boils down to that the business that he has, he can have it inside the building. It's the outdoor display is what city staff did not support. And in the application, it wasn't restricted in any type of area. Essentially, it was outdoor display, which could have been used for the remnant of the entirety of the property. And just for what was in the area, there's an elementary school that is just to the north. Scott, if you'll bring up the zoning. And that's what that building is, just directly to the north. And also residential that is direct to the south. We felt that, outdoor display in this type of use is not conducive to that area. So that's the reason for us not supporting the outdoor display.
Thank you.
Director Hendricks, you're recognized, please.
I wanted to ask Jamie again, can you go more into detail of what you just said? Can you elaborate on what you just said?
Well, in the outdoor display, as you heard the applicant say, what they're looking to display is small ATV, all-terrain vehicles, the little four-wheelers that people can ride on. And in that outdoor display, that would mean parking them out in the asphalt area so people as they drive by can see. And it would also allow people to, they would be able to get on them out there, possibly ride them around in the parking lot or not. But essentially that's the sell, that's the visual, that's the outdoor display. They're trying to catch people that is either driving down Baseline or going down to Laurel Springs of seeing the outdoor display. And in their application, there was no limits on the location. And so when you look at it for the approval, that would be approving the entire parking area, display area that they have would be able to utilize display, outdoor display.
I want to elaborate on what I've said on so many times to this board, is that we have hired you to do a job, and I will be voting in support of your recommendation. Thank you.
Mr. Lacani, if you'd like to come back to the microphone, please. So you've heard the staff's position on why they were recommending denial. Can you elaborate a little bit for us on this issue of parking?
What I'm going to do, I will park in my parking spot where I'm parking the cars. I will put in my parking spot only 5 ATVs, not more than that. So it's like just a small 100cc, a small ATV for the kids. And I will park in my parking lot where I'm parking my cars.
Okay. Director Peck.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just wondering, Joan and BJ, if the neighborhood associations that were supportive realized that there were going to be some outdoor marketing and they were fine with that. Okay, thank you.
Director Wyrick.
I haven't spoken about it, but I was at the Southwest United for Progress, and the neighborhood was in support of this, and they knew that what he was requesting was outdoor display, and they didn't have a problem with it. They really are in support of doing this.
Director Hendricks, you're recognized.
Are any of those residents here today, that could speak for themselves?
That's why
well,
we have a representative, Ms. Wyrick, speaking for us.
You talk to him, don't talk to me.
Director Hendricks, if you direct your comments here,
yeah.
Not to people
that
have not been recognized. Thank you. All right, very good. Okay, a vote on this matter. A vote yes is to approve the planning and. Oh, excuse me, Ruth, you're right, you did. Come forward, please. Come forward, if you'll have a seat, Mr. Lacani. You did, and I have it, and I just had a card on top of it, sorry.
Oh, well, as you all know too well, I'm Ruth Bell. I'm with the League of Women Voters. And I have to say, this is a wonderful young man. He did all the right things. He met the neighbors. He went to the neighborhood associations. I'd love to have him live next door to me. But he's applying for the wrong kind of zoning from our point of view. We oppose this application at the Planning Commission level, and we continue to oppose it. C4 is the most intense commercial use. It is commonly used to accommodate display of merchandise that is too large or too awkward in size to be displayed for sale in a building. A very common example is car dealerships where they have the inventory on the parking lot. And although what he is selling is not nearly the size of a vehicle, a car or a pickup, it's still motor vehicles, and there's probably going to be more than 2 or 3 on the site at one time. C4 sites are usually located on major thoroughfares, which Hilero Springs Road is busy, but it's not that busy. And it's usually C4 places are located close or abutting other C4 uses. When C4 open display is mixed with other C uses or close to residential uses, the open display use intrudes into pedestrian walkways and into areas that are shared areas amongst all commercial users in a particular site. Intense because of the nearby residences, a school, a church, and other less intense, more neighborhood commercial uses. We feel that it is better that you all uphold the decision of the Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. I do have a curiosity question for you.
What?
And you have been here very loyally and have spoken on many different instances on cases, both in support of or in opposition of certain land use issues. Do you take these and take them back to the League of Women Voters, and do they vote on these and give you direction on how the League of Women Voters is voting on these things?
What you want to know is why you know a League member who agrees with you and I don't agree with you. I think the best way to explain it is we study issues, we reach positions. We review those issues from time to time when we can see that the culture of the country or other legislation has moved beyond our position and reach a new position. But when I come down here after I've reviewed the agendas and been to the Planning Commission, I'm operating a little bit like you perhaps, Mayor, and the Board of Directors, is I base my actions on the positions that we have established and give it my best shot, my educated judgment perhaps, and then respond. Mostly our members don't complain, to me anyhow. So.
Well, I was just curious when you say you're speaking on behalf of the league. So you have general land use policy positions, but you don't take these things specifically back to your league, local league, and ask them to support or oppose specifically.
We review our positions at our annual meeting every year.
All right.
And then they are either voted up or down, and we do change them sometimes. We're not so totally set
Thank you.
in
I
concrete.
appreciate being educated on that.
Okay.
Director Hendricks, did you have a comment?
Carry me on. My comment was in support of Ms. Bell. And I'm really amazed, Mayor, that you would even ask her that as long as she's been coming down here.
I figure we need to figure it out sooner or later.
Insult. Come on, give me an amen, somebody.
All right, we can move to a vote on this ordinance. A vote yes is to approve the application of Mr. Lacani to allow for the,
I haven't read it.
oh, excuse me. We opened up the public hearing, yes, all right. Let me ask for a moment, is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Oh, you've got a card, Mr. Muse? All right. You can just hand it to me, that'd be fine.
I am aware that 2 letters were sent to Donna with the planning department, and that was not mentioned by the director. I would like to put that on the record in support of this business and this application.
You're in support of it?
What'd
Okay,
I do?
well, you said you were against it,
Oh,
but
I
now
meant-
you're in support of it?
I'm support. Marked the wrong thing.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Muse. All right, let me go ahead and close the public hearing and ask for the first reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled 9010 Hilaro Springs Road, short form PCD, located at 9010 Hilaro Springs, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, first reading. First
Suspend
reading.
the rules and put on second reading, please.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on second reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Second reading, please.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled 9010 Hilaro Springs Road, short form PCD, located at 9010 Hilaro Springs Road, second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on third and final reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Third and final reading, please.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled 9010 Hilaro Springs Road, short form PCD, located at 9010 Hilaro Springs Road, third and final reading.
Okay.
Mayor, will you again say what a yes is and a no?
Yes, I will. That's what I was about to do before. Sorry, I jumped the gun. Yes, a vote yes is to approve the application for the PCD that Mr. Lacani has filed. A vote no would be to sustain the denial of the Planning Commission, or to deny this PCD. So, everybody understand?
Yes means yes.
Yes means yes, it's in favor of it. No means no, you're not in favor of it. Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Nay, roll call, please.
Roll call, please.
Director Adcock?
Yes.
Director Hendricks?
No.
Director Richardson?
Present.
Director Peck?
Yes.
Director Hines?
Yes.
Director Wright?
Yes.
Director Wyrick?
Yes.
Director Campuras? Director Fortson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Webb?
Yes.
Director Richardson, would you like to change your vote?
No, I keep it the same.
I didn't hear that, Director Richardson.
I said, no, I keep it the same.
Okay. All right, by a vote of 8-2, the ordinance is passed. Good luck to you, Mr. Lacani. Okay, we can now move on to our final matter, which is citizen communication.
Mayor, I need to read
All right,
this.
if you would like to go do
Okay.
that now, that would be fine.
Sure.
Explain it, if you would, for the public.
The city annually receives notification from the federal government that we're eligible to apply for the JAG grant. It's something we get every year. But part of the application has to be that we read a statement into the minutes of the meeting.
Very good. Madam Clerk, go ahead, please.
The Little Rock Police Department has received notification of eligibility to apply for funds from the fiscal year 2018 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. The amount of the allocation for Little Rock and Pulaski County is $280,392. As part of the application process, the Little Rock Police Department is required to notify its governing body of this eligibility. Therefore, it was to be included in the minutes of the this meeting.
Very good, thank you. Okay, we can now move on to our citizen communication, and I have one card for Mr. Luke Scrable. Mr. Scrable, as you come up, I want to make a couple of observations. First of all, I've given you wide latitude on the issue of how specific you are about what you write on these citizen communication cards so that we don't have over duplication.
Right.
The first card you filled out said that there were specific criminal activities that were being conducted by board members, or at least people on this dais. And this is not much better in terms of saying that there was government corruption on the April 17th meeting and the August 7th meeting. I'm going to let you go ahead and speak.
I know you will, because I have a right to speak.
But let me tell you what. Let me just say, if you're going to accuse people of crimes, then you're in the wrong venue. You're in the wrong venue.
It's not a matter of accusing of crimes.
Let me finish, and I'll let you speak. If you would not interrupt, we can get through this a little bit easier, Mr. Scrable. Let me mention to you, if you have specific allegations about board members, you need to go to the prosecutor's office. You need to go to the prosecutor's office and make those complaints. Now, with that said,
what are you scared of, Mayor? Just let me have my freedom of speech. Thank you. Good evening, Director Hines. I am going to speak about specific criminal things that people in this boardroom do, but I'm not accusing anybody. It's not my place. I'm just a citizen. I'm just bringing it to your attention and the public's attention. Now, I'm sorry that when I wrote the public cost of immorality as a meter is running on each criminal offense of ignoring public service and responsibility by elected and hired civil servants in government leadership recorded all the way back to 1/1/207. What I would like to speak about tonight is when civil servants do not behave with honor, integrity, and can seem to violate the laws that are in place. I just wanted to point out that when any of you, like you have, Mayor, on TV here, when you do that, now you have created an instance that we can quantify that you have been found guilty of malfeasance, which is wrongdoing, especially by a public official. We are also talking about nonfeasance, failure to perform an act that is required by law, and misfeasance, a transgression, especially the wrongful exercise of lawful authority. And all that comes under the guise of moral turpitude, a legal concept in the United States and some other countries that refer to conduct that is considered contra to community standards of justice, honesty, and good morals. I've asked y'all to take false police records that, admitted by the city attorney, were there. He told you last week that it was wrong of me to ask you that, but I did 3 FOIs to find out there are no laws to prevent that. The false information was put in the system. Somebody can just remove it and replace it with the correct and honest, but you don't want to do that. So you have now given me the opportunity to just record one after another. Every time I come up here and make you aware, I hope all directors are listening, and you ignore me, you are worse than the people committing those crimes. If you're looking the other way at liars and cheats and thieves, you're all guilty. Thank you.
Mr. Carpenter, would you remind, for the public's purpose, that changing records by this board is not a matter of our purview?
Not against the law.
As I said, Mayor, the board doesn't need to be in the process of going back and changing public records, particularly police records,
false police
simply
records.
because
False
of
police
an
records.
allegation on them. And that if that is to be done, then an individual is going to have to go to the courts, and he's going to ask a judge to order the change. And Mr. Scrabble hadn't done that.
So there's a procedure for Mr. Scrabble to follow in the courts, not
Right.
with a legislative body such as the City Board of Directors.
And an FOI for how to do that is not an FOI.
Thank you. Just want to make sure everyone in the public understands that there is a procedure for doing this, and Mr. Scrabble has refused to try and take avail of that particular procedure. Okay, thank you very much. Is there anything else to come before the board? I don't, you haven't hit your button, Irma. There you go.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to ask the board really, if any of you all received this long letter from a gentleman that has questions about the River Market from this River Market Towers. Did you all get this?
I believe everyone did, yes.
We don't, and can you help me, Mayor? Is this after the fact what he's asking us to do? I'm sure everybody's nodding. Come on, you all respond to this letter. Is it after the fact that he's asking that we make changes on the I-30? Did you all get it?
Yes, that was submitted as part of the public record in the last hearing that the Highway Department had.
The River Market Tower employees at 315 Rock Street are asking that we reverse decisions that have been made. So I just wanted to know if you all received it. Okay.
There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. We're in adjournment. Thank you.